Welcome. Today we're talking about something most engineers have started running into constantly. Your AI assistant writes a recursive function, it runs, it returns an answer, and you have no real way to know if that answer is right for the right reasons. This is a Python Tutor field guide. Python Tutor is a free, browser-based visual execution tool, and by the end of this session, you'll have a repeatable habit. Paste the code, step through it, and actually verify, not just trust, the recursive functions your AI assistant hands you. Let's start with the core problem. Modern coding assistants are extremely fluent at recursion. Ask for a tree traversal, a merge, a flatten operation, and in seconds, you'll get something that looks syntactically clean and idiomatic. It reads like code a senior engineer would write. But fluency is not correctness. A recursive function can pass its one happy path test, print exactly the value you expected, and still be structurally wrong underneath. Maybe the base case fires one level too late. Maybe a branch aliases a reference instead of actually copying it. Maybe there's no memoization at all, and what looks like a clean O of n solution is secretly O of 2 to the n. Here's the uncomfortable part. Print statements and a single passing assertion can't catch any of these. Print shows you a value. It doesn't show you the shape of the call stack, and it doesn't show you whether two variables are quietly pointing at the same object in memory. Those are structural properties, and structural properties are exactly what a visual debugger like Python Tutor is built to expose. So the three failure modes to watch for throughout this session are silent aliasing, off by one base cases, and exponential blowup from a missing memo. Keep those three in mind. We'll come back to a live example of the first one shortly. Before we open the tool, we need one mental model solid. The call stack is literally a stack of frames. Every time a function calls itself, a new frame gets pushed onto that stack. Each frame holds its own private copy of that call's local variables, plus a return address, where execution should resume once this call finishes. Frames pop in strict last-in, first-out order, which is why the deepest, most recently pushed call is always the first one to return. Python Tutor draws this stack explicitly as a literal list of boxes on screen. So a question like, how deep did this actually recurse, and with what arguments at each level, stops being something you infer from indentation in a log file and becomes something you just read off the screen. The diagram on the right shows the same idea from a different angle, a recursion tree. It grows downward as calls happen, and then collapses back upward as each base case resolves and results merge back together. As you step through Python Tutor, you're essentially watching this tree get built and then torn back down, one frame at a time. Three things to actually watch, frame by frame, as you step. Do the argument values shrink toward a base case at each depth? Which frame is currently highlighted as executing? And does the order frames pop back match what you actually intended? So what does this actually look like inside the tool? Python Tutor's interface has 4 panes, and the key thing to understand is that they're all synchronized. Every single step click updates all 4 together. On the left, the source code pane highlights the exact line about to execute. That's your anchor as you click forward. Next to it, the frames pane. This is the call stack we just talked about, drawn as a literal list. Global scope at the top, then one entry per active call, each with its own local variable bindings. Here's the part that makes Python Tutor genuinely different from a normal debugger. Variables that hold objects, not primitives, but actual objects like tree nodes, aren't just shown as inline values. They're drawn as arrows pointing into the third pane, the objects or heap pane. Every live object is its own labeled box, and if 2 different variables' arrows land on the very same box, that's a shared reference, a structural fact about your program made completely visible. The output pane on the far right stays empty until a print or return statement actually fires, which is exactly why console output alone can miss a bug like this entirely. Keep an eye on that reference arrow behavior. It's the single most useful signal in the whole interface, and it's exactly what we're about to use to catch a real bug. Let's make this concrete. Here's a function an AI assistant might produce from a completely reasonable one-line prompt. Write a function to deep clone a binary tree. Walk through it with me. The base case, if node is none, return none, that's correct. The new node gets constructed correctly. The left subtree gets recursed into correctly, right there, clone tree of node.left. And then this line, new node.right equals node.right. That's the bug. Instead of recursing into the right subtree the same way we did for the left, we're just assigning the original right child directly. No clone happens on that side at all. Here's why this is dangerous. Any test that only checks values, something like newtree.right.val equals 3, will pass. The value at that reference is correct. It's simply not a new object. It's the exact same object as the original tree's right child. Now step through this in Python Tutor on a small 3-node tree, and within 2 clicks, it's obvious. In the heap pane, new node.right's arrow lands on the exact same box as the original node.right, not a fresh one. That's a visual duplicate that no value-based test can ever surface, but it takes about 5 seconds to spot once you're looking at the diagram instead of the console. The fix, by the way, is a 1-token diff. Just wrap node.right in the same clone tree call we already used for the left branch. Small diff, big consequence, and completely invisible until you can see the references.
So how does this compare to the debugging most of us default to, scattering print statements through the code? On setup cost, print wins outright. Add a line, rerun, done. Visual debugging asks a little more of you. Paste the code into a browser tool first. But look at call depth visibility. Print debugging gives you almost nothing. You're inferring depth from indentation in a wall of output. Visual debugging gives you an explicit, ordered list of every active call. And on the exact failure mode we just walked through, aliasing bugs, print debugging essentially never catches them because it only ever shows you a value, never an object's identity. Visual debugging shows identity directly as those shared arrows. The honest takeaway here isn't always use one over the other. Use print when you're confirming one known value at one known point. Reach for visual debugging when you need to actually understand why a recursive function is structurally correct, which is precisely the situation you're in every time you're reviewing recursive code you didn't write yourself. This slide is the practical cheat sheet, the one worth screenshotting. For recursion depth up to roughly 15 frames, Python Tutor is the default. The full trace fits on screen without getting crowded, and that covers the large majority of AI-generated recursive functions you'll ever review, since review usually happens on small representative inputs anyway. Between 15 and 100 frames, the visualization genuinely gets hard to read. At that point, switch to PDB with conditional breakpoints. Gate a breakpoint on a condition at the recursive call site so you only stop on the frames that actually matter. And beyond 100 frames, or anywhere on a hot path, neither of these is the right tool anymore. You're no longer debugging correctness, you're profiling depth or performance. And that's a job for something like cprofile or PySpy, plus real load testing. The through line across all three: match the tool to the question you're actually asking. Correctness on a small input, visual debugger. Correctness on a larger input, conditional breakpoints. Performance at any size, a profiler, never a debugger. This isn't a new idea, and it's worth knowing where it came from. Python Tutor was built by Philip Wu, originally while affiliated with MIT, and later continued at UC San Diego, to solve exactly this problem for students. Recursion and pointer manipulation are notoriously hard to reason about from source code alone. Making the call stack and heap explicit and forcing them to update in lockstep as you step through became foundational to how program visualization is taught, and the tool has been used across a huge number of introductory computer science courses worldwide. The extension we're making in this course is straightforward. The same make the invisible visible principle that helps a first-year student understand recursion helps an experienced engineer verify recursion they didn't write themselves. The invisible thing has just shifted from what is a pointer to what did my AI assistance code actually do? Teams that adopt this as a habit paste an AI-generated recursive function into a visual debugger before merging it, step through 2 or 3 representative inputs, and confirm the frame count and heap references match what they actually intended. That turns code review from, does it output the right answer once, into, do I actually understand why this is structurally correct? Here's a more advanced move for anyone who already has the basic paste and step workflow down. Ask the AI assistant that wrote the function to explain its own recursion. What's the base case? What's the invariant? Why does each recursive call make measurable progress toward that base case? Then step through Python Tutor on a small input and check that explanation against what the frames actually show. This is a stronger signal than it might first seem. A vague or hedged explanation is at least honestly uncertain, but a confident, fluent, well-structured explanation that doesn't match the actual trace tells you something specific. The model produced a plausible narrative, not a verified one. And plausible but wrong is exactly the failure mode that's hardest to catch just by reading code. The example here is concrete. The AI's explanation claims the function returns the accumulated depth, but the trace shows frame 4's return value never actually gets consumed by frame 3's sum. The depth is silently dropped. The explanation completely missed it. One necessary caveat, and it applies to everything in this session, this is a verification technique for small representative inputs. It is not a substitute for profiling or load testing at production scale. Let's bring this together into 5 heuristics you can actually carry forward. 1. Fluent is not correct. AI-generated recursion can pass its own happy path test and still hide an aliasing bug, a base case bug, or a complexity bug. 2. Read the frames before you read the return value. The call stack frame list is your ground truth for recursion depth and argument state. 3. The heap catches what values can't. Reference bugs are invisible to value-only debugging. The objects pane makes shared references literally visible as duplicate arrows. 4. Trace small, not production scale. 3 to 5 representative inputs. Visual debuggers are a verification lens, not a profiler. And 5, probably the most important cultural shift, make this a review step, not a rescue. Step through AI-generated recursive code before you merge it, as a standing practice, not something you only reach for once something's already broken. Let's close with where to go next, and the same question we opened with, reframed as something you can actually act on. PythonTutor.com is free, requires no install, and is the fastest way to put today's habit into practice on the very next recursive function you review. The course link continues this material with hands-on labs built around AI-generated recursive code samples. And if you want the design rationale behind why this kind of synchronized visualization actually works, the original SIGC paper is worth a read. So, one last time, what's the deepest recursive call you've personally shipped without ever stepping through it? The highest leverage next action here is genuinely small. The next time an AI assistant hands you a recursive function in code review, paste it into Python Tutor before you approve it. No new tooling, no new process, just a 5-minute habit change. Thanks for your time. I'm happy to take questions or walk through a recursive function from your own codebase live if anyone wants to try this right now.